So former NFL coach Bill Belichick sat down with CBS's Mornings to talk about his new book, The Art of Winning. And at one point, he was asked how he met his 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordon Hudson. Take a look.
You have Jordon right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
Okay, so apparently Jordon interrupted the interview multiple times. That wasn't the only time. So was CBS in the right to film her and include those moments within their interview? Why not?
Why not? I say, heck yes, they were in the right. Heck yes. This is the one thing that Jordon Hudson maybe doesn't know yet about life in public life. You know, you get to control the image and the message and the story that you tell on your Instagram, Jordon. You do not get to control journalists. And so that is why journalism exists, because that's fair game. And, you know, I don't want, let me be careful. I don't want that to come off as I'm attacking her, because what we don't know is who is actually in control of this. She looks like more of a manager than a girlfriend at that moment.
Yeah.
We don't know how much of that conversation beforehand was Bill saying, you make sure you step in if you hear something that you know I'm not going to like. So I'm not going to automatically blame her, but I do think it was in the right that the journalist showed.
I would go even further.
Happens.
I think it was within their right. I think they almost had no choice but to, because these are news producers, these are news journalists. She inserted herself into the story. You know, so they would be doing a disservice to their craft if they didn't. If she had interrupted maybe once, they might have been like, oh, okay, she's just being protective. But she became the story by interrupting multiple times. They were doing their job, I'd argue.
Yeah. I watched that. I watched that story yesterday morning. Tony DeCopo, thank you very much, my friend. Great journalism and the team. Because instead of us thinking about Bill and his wonderful career as the NFL coach with the most rings, we are all walking away and talking about the fact that his very young girlfriend was controlling the situation. You know what they say? He may be the head, but she's the neck. Because he wasn't making a move without her say-so, and she kept on interrupting. So he had, I felt like Tony had no choice but to do that. And this is a little inside baseball. In our industry, it's not uncommon for someone to be off to the side, interjecting. But usually it's because the person being interviewed has a court case coming up. So their lawyer's like, please don't answer that question. You can't answer that question. Or you have a celebrity who's in a disaster and their publicist is to the side going, we can't answer that question. That's going to lead, you know, it's going to turn into. But her sitting there where it's like, a very simple question. How'd you meet? And she was so defensive. I was like, girl, you just gave us a window. And now what I'm thinking is, Bill has 3 adult children from a previous marriage. I need to hear from them. Yeah. Because what is this relationship?
Well, you know what I'll say.
Right? What is this relationship?
All I can think about is the fact that she probably has a tracker on him.
Oh my God.
Most definitely.
She might.
And I doubt he consented to it, but anyway.
You know what just occurred to me watching that too? All of that controlling of the narrative, but she couldn't control getting him a T-shirt without holes in it.
Oh, no.
Did you know
That was originally ripped. I think that was the style.
Yes.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
it's cool.
But here's
it's an
the thing.
old sweatshop, a sweat top that he's always had.
Okay,
I wanted to jump on what you said.
that
I
back.
just wanted to jump on what you said, Andrea, because it's like it does now make us start to question the dynamics and the power structure of that relationship naturally. But if you take a look, or you know the history of Bill Belichick, he is a notoriously introverted, quiet guy. He's had relationships and marriages. He's the guy who's the say nothing guy. They ask him questions in an interview. He talks a little bit, but he says nothing.
Oh, I see.
And this is actually his history. So now, all of a sudden, he has a girlfriend who puts up pictures all over Instagram, and she's inviting us in.
Yeah.
This is the stuff she posts.
She's a mermaid?
She's a mermaid.
And he's a fisherman catching her.
So you know she probably bought that outfit, that costume for him, and was like, look, I'm such a great catch. Honey, why don't you dress up like a fisherman? I'll dress up like a mermaid.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, she is inviting us in.
Sure. Yeah.
He only got an Instagram account after the two of them started dating. I wonder why.
Yeah.
So it does make me ask questions. I don't want to be ageist and say he's got no agency, but I do want to ask him the question, without her in the room,
Are you okay?
Yes. Yes. See, and I don't think of him. He is quiet, but he's also notorious for running a very tight ship with his athletes and bringing other NFL players to tears. So I'm looking at him the whole time. I was like, who is this man? This is not the guy.
Yeah.
If you were a true football fan, you're like, what happened to this guy? This is a tough, no nonsense, and that's everybody knows him for that. So I was looking at it like, oh man, somebody needs to look into this. Elder abuse? I'm not saying, but it was like, it felt uncomfortable to watch,
something
and that is why
uncomfortable.
CBS put it out that way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. More to come.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.